She's fainted, that's all. She'll be around in a minute.
Rogers, get some brandy.
Who was that speaking? It sounded...
Well, now what was that? What kind of practical joke was that?
Where the devil did that voice come from? Here we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, silence, please.
Turn it off! Turn it off! What a disgraceful and heartless practical joke.
So you think it's a practical joke, do you?
What else could it be?
At the moment, I'm not prepared to give an opinion.
But who the devil turned it on, though, instead of going?
That's what we must inquire into.
Oh, Timmy! Oh, Timmy! It's all right, Mrs. Rogers. Just a nasty turn.
Did I faint?
Yes.
That voice. That awful voice. Like the voice of judgment.
Now, if I talk it's going to be all right, you hear? Pull yourself together. It's going to be all right.
Where's the brandy? Drink this, Mrs. Rogers.
All right, now just give me a 10.
Hush. Your turn too. A wicked lie, say what? I'd like to know.
Who set that gramophone on the record? Was it you, Rogers?
I was just obeying orders, sir.
Whose orders?
Mr. Owens.
Let me get this quite clear. Your orders were what, exactly?
I was just to put the record on the gramophone. I thought it was just to give you all some music.
A likely story.
It's the truth, sir. I swear by heaven it's the truth. I had a name on it. I thought it was just to give you music.
Is there a title?
A title? Yes, it's entitled Swan Song.
Oh, now listen. This is preposterous, slinging accusations about like this. Now something must be done about it. Now this fellow Owen, whoever he is,
That's just it. Who is he?
Rogers, I suggest you get your wife up to bed and then come back down here.
I'll give you a hand.
Will she be all right, Doctor?
Yes, quite all right.
I don't know about you, sir, but I can use a drink.
I agree.
hospice. That's what it is. Hospice.
Should I get a glass of tea? I'll get it.
She'll be all right. I've given her a sedative.
Now then, Doctor, you want to drink after all this?
No, thank you. I never touch alcohol.
You have this one, General?
Yes, thank you.
Now, Rogers, we must get to the bottom of this. What do you know about Mr. Owen?
He owns this place, sir.
Yes, but what I mean is, what do you personally know of the man?
Nothing, sir. You see, I've never met him.
Oh, what do you mean you've never met him?
We're employed to the registry office, Mrs. Rogers and I, in the Regina, in Plymouth.
That's a high-class firm. We can check on that.
Do you have the letter?
The letter engaging us? Yes, sir.
Coronation machine number 5. Quite new, no defects. Ensign paper, most common make. We shan't get much out of this. We might try for fingerprints, but it's been handled too much.
Quite a little detective.
You look Norman Owen. He's got some fancy Christian names, hasn't he? Quite a mouthful.
I'm obliged to you, Mr. Martin. You've drawn my attention to a curious and suggestive point. I think it would be well for all of us to come forward with all the information we have regarding our unknown host. We are all his guests. I think it would be well for all of us to explain exactly how that came to be.
There's something very peculiar about all this. I received a letter with a signature that was not very easy to read. It purported to be from a woman whom I had met at a certain summer resort 2 or 3 years ago. I took the name to be Ogden. I'm quite certain that I've never met or become friendly with anyone with the name of Owen.
Have you kept the letter?
Yes, I'll fetch it for you.
Miss Pegwell?
I wanted a holiday post and I applied to a secretary agency, Miss Strenfield's in London. I was offered this post and accepted.
You were never interviewed by a prospective employer?
No, this is the letter.
Soldier Island, Sticklehaven, Devon. I received your name from Miss Grenfell's agency. I understand she knows you personally. I shall be glad to pay you the salary you ask, and shall expect you to take up your duties on August 8th. The train is the 12:10 from Paddington, and you will be met at Oakbridge Station. I enclose £5 for expenses. Yours truly, Una Nancy Owen. Mr. Marston.
Oh, I received a wire from a pal of mine back to Berkeley. He told me to roll up here. Strange, though, because I thought that the old horse had gone to Norway. I haven't kept the wire.
Thank you. Dr. Armstrong.
I think in the circumstances, I may admit that my visit here is professional. I received a letter from Mr. Owen saying that he was concerned about his wife's health, her nerves to be precise. He wanted me to give a report without her being alarmed, so he suggested that my visit here should be regarded as that of an ordinary guest.
You had no previous acquaintance with the family,
No.
yet you had no hesitation in obeying the summons.
A colleague of mine was mentioned, and a very handsome fee was suggested. I was due for a holiday anyway.
Thank you. Dear Miss Brent, I do hope you remember me. We were together at Belhaven Guest House in August some years ago, and we seem to have so much in common. I'm starting a guest house of my own on an island off the coast of Devon. I think there's really an opening for a place where there's good, plain English cooking and a nice, old-fashioned type of person. None of this nudity and gramophones half the night. I shall be very glad if you could see your way to spending your summer holiday on Soldier Island, as my guest, of course. I suggest August 8th, 12:40 from Paddington to Oakbridge. Yours sincerely, U.M. Yes, the signature is a bit ambiguous. Here's my own decoy letter from a personal friend of mine, Lady Constance Comington. She urges me to join her here and refers to her host and hostess in the vaguest of terms. General Mackenzie.
Yes. Well, I got a letter from this fellow Owen. I assumed he was someone I met at the club sometime. I mentioned some old cronies of mine who were to be here and hoped I'd excuse the informal invitation. I haven't kept the letter, I'm afraid.
Thank you. Captain Lombard.
Same sort of thing. Invitation mentioning mutual friends. I haven't kept the letter either.
Now, amongst the names listed was the name of William Henry Blore. However, as far as I know, there is no one here amongst us named Blore. However, the name of Davis was not mentioned. What have you to say for yourself, Mr. Davis?
Cat's out of the bag, it seems. I suppose I'd better admit my name is not Davis.
You are William Henry Blore?
That's right.
I will add something to that. Not only are you here under a false name, Mr. Blore, but I've noticed this evening that you are a first-class liar. You claim to come from Natal, South Africa. I know Natal and South Africa well, and I'm prepared to swear you've never set foot there in your life.
You gentlemen have got me all wrong. I'm an ex-CID man.
Oh, a copper.
I've got my credentials. I can prove it. I run a detective agency in Plymouth. I was put onto this job.
By whom?
Why, Mr. Owen. Sent a very nice money order for expenses. Said I was to join the house party posing as a guest. He also sent a list of all your names. Said I was to keep a close eye on all of you.
Any reasons given?
Said Mrs. Owen had gotten some very valuable jewels. Mrs. Owen, my foot. I don't believe there is any such person.
Your conclusions are, I think, justified. Ulick Norman Owen, Una Nancy Owen. Each time that is to say U.N. Owen. Or, by a slight stretch of fancy, unknown.
But that's fantastic. Mad.
Oh yes, I have no doubt in my own mind that we've been brought here by a madman. Our unknown host has taken the great deal of time to find out a great deal about us. And out of his knowledge concerning us, he has made certain definite accusations. I wish to say before you all that our unknown host accused me of the murder of one Edward Seaton. I remember Seaton perfectly well. He came before me for trial in June 1930. He was accused of the murder of an elderly woman, and he was very well ably defended, and he made a good impression on the jury. However, I summed up the evidence, and the jury brought in a verdict of guilty. I fully concurred with this verdict. The appeal was dismissed, and the appeal was lodged on the grounds of misdirection, and the man was duly executed. I did my duty. I sentenced a rightly convicted murderer.
Did you know Seaton at all? I mean, personally.
I knew nothing of Seaton previous to the trial.
The old boy's lying. I'll swear he's lying.
The fellow's a madman. An absolute madman. He's got a bee in his bonnet. It's really best to leave this sort of thing unanswered. However, I wish to say before all of you that there's no truth whatsoever in what he said about that young Arthur Richmond. Now Richmond was one of my officers, and I sent him out on reconnaissance in 1917, and he was killed. Also, I like to say I resent very much that slur on my wife. But she's been dead a very long time now, and she was the best woman in the world. Absolutely. Caesar's wife.
John Lucy Combs. Must have been the couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge. Beastly bad luck.
For them or for you?
Well, I'm thinking, for me, but you're right, sir. It was bad luck for them, too. Of course, it was pure accident. They ran out of some cottage or other. Got my license suspended for a year. Beastly nuisance.
The speeding's all wrong. All wrong. Young men like you are a danger to the community.
Well, I couldn't help it. It's just an accident.
Might I have a word, sir?
Go ahead, Rogers.
There was a mention, sir, of me and Mrs. Rogers and Miss Jennifer Brady. We were with Mrs. Brady when she died, and she was in poor health, sir, always, from the time we knew her. And one night, there was a storm, and the telephone lines were down. And I went, sir, on foot to get the doctor. But we were too late. And we did everything we could for her, devoted to her, we were. And there was never a word said against us.
Came into a nice little something by her death, I suppose, didn't you?
Miss Brady left us a legacy in recognition of our faithful service. And why not, I'd like to know?
What about yourself, Mr. Bloor?
What about me?
Your name was on the list.
Oh, I know. Lendor, you mean? That was the London and Commercial Bank robbery.
Yes, I remember the name of Blendor, though it did not come before me. He was convicted on your evidence.
He was, my lord.
He was sentenced penal servitude for life in prison. He died in Dartmoor a year later. He was a delicate man.
He was a crook. It was him put the night watchman out. The case was clear from the start.
You were complimented, I think, on your able handling of the case.
I got my promotion. I was only doing my duty.
Convenient word, duty. What about you, Doctor?
I'm at a loss to understand the matter. The name meant nothing to me whatsoever. Was it close? I really don't remember having mention of that name, or it being connected with the death in any way. And of course, it was a long time ago. It might possibly have been one of my operation cases in a hospital. They come too late, so many of these people. Then when the patient dies, it's always the surgeon's fault.
And then it's best to take up nerve cases and give up surgery. Some, of course, give up drinking.
I protest. You've no right to insinuate such things. I never touch alcohol.
My dear doctor, I never suggested you did. Anyway, Mr. Unknown is the only one who knows all the facts.
Mrs. Claiborne.
I was a nursery governess to Peter Hamilton. We were in Cornwall for the summer, and he was forbidden to swim out far. One day when my attention was distracted, he started off. I couldn't get to him in time.
Was there an inquest?
I was exonerated by the coroner. His mother didn't blame me either.
Thank you. Miss Emily Brent.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You reserve your defense?
There's no question of defense. I have always acted according to the dictates of my conscience.
What a law-abiding lot we all seem to be. Myself excepted.
We're still waiting to hear your story, Captain Lombard.
I haven't got a story.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry to disappoint all of you. It's just that I plead guilty. It's perfectly true. I did leave those natives alone in the bush. Matter of self-preservation.
You abandoned your men!
Well, not quite the act of a proper gentleman, but self-preservation is a man's first duty. And natives don't mind dying, you know. They don't feel about it as Europeans do.
Our inquiry rests there. Now, Rogers, who else is on the island except for you, your wife, and us?
No one, sir.
You're sure?
Quite sure, sir.
Now, I'm not quite clear yet as to the purpose of our unknown host getting us to assemble here, but I don't think he is sane in the accepted sense of the word. I suggest we leave here as soon as possible. I suggest we leave tonight.
You'll pardon me, sir, but there's no boat on this island.
No boat.
No, sir.
Is there a telephone to the mainland?
No. Fred Narcock, the boatman, he comes here every morning and takes the orders and delivers the post on the papers.
Been on the sport team. We got to ferret out the mystery before we go. The whole thing's like a detective story. Positively thrilling.
At my time of life, I have absolutely no desire for this.
The legal life's narrowing. I'm all for crime. Here's to it.
He's dead. He's dead.
What? Did you mean the fellow just choked and died?
You can call it choking if you like, General Mackenzie. Marston died of asphyxiation right enough.
Never knew a fellow could die just like that, just from a mere choking fit.
Marston's death is what we call a natural death.
Was there something in the whiskey?
Yes. By the smell of its cyanide, probably potassium cyanide. Acts pretty well instantaneously.
But he must have put the stuff in the glass himself.
Suicide, eh? That's a wrong go.
But you wouldn't think he'd commit suicide.